Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. So before we get started, I wanted to announce my upcoming workshop on frankincense. It's a mini workshop, an hour and a half, starts at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, ends at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. If you can't make it live, we'll send you the recording. To register, $27. Go to my website, drsamberne.com. I also wanted to announce that I have one opening for a one-on-one mentorship for my practitioner training. So if you're interested in that, if you're a practitioner and you want to work with me one-on-one, we can do that. We'll set up a discovery call and see if it's right for you. Contact me at appointments@drsamberne.com. And finally, my Kauai retreat is happening February 19th to the 24th, 2026. I still have a few spots left, but it's going fast. So if you're interested, again, you can email me appointments@drsamberne.com. It's also on my website. You can register. So on the show today, we're going to be talking about a practice that I've been doing to help people improve not only their lymphatic health, but also in Chinese medicine, improving their acupuncture meridians and also craniosacral therapy. So you get three things in that. And then I'm going to talk about red light therapy and how to do red light. If you're curious how to apply red light to the eyes, you can email me appointments@drsamberne.com and I'll give you those details. And then finally on the podcast, I'm going to talk about aromatherapy. This is a general lecture that I did a while back, and you don't want to miss it. Okay, I'd like to welcome you to session 5, Vision Reboot. We've got some new things we're going to talk about tonight. 3 things on the schedule. The first is I'm going to talk a little bit about red light. I've been getting a lot of questions about that. Just spend a few minutes on that. And then I'm going to show you a new process that combines acupuncture, craniosacral, and lymphatic stimulation. So it's going to be really, really good. The way you sign up for the frankincense workshop, by the way, $27. You can either send me an email, appointments@drsamberne.com, or you can go on the website. If you look under workshops on the homepage, you'll click on that, and then that'll take you to the frankincense workshop, and you can sign up there. So let me know if you want to come and do that. If you can't make it live, that's okay. It'll be recorded, and you can download the recording and have it forever. Again, make sure
on your website.
It's if you go to the home page, they'll see a category workshops. If you click on workshops, it'll take you to all my workshops. So, and if you have trouble finding that, just send me an email, appointments@drsamberne.com, and I'll help you sign up. $27. It's a good deal, and we're going to do a lot of great stuff about frankincense. Okay. So red light. People have been asking me a lot about red light. How does it work? What's the science behind it? How do you do it? So I was really pondering light therapy one day because I'd been doing color and light therapy since the mid-1980s. And when this came on my radar in 2021, there was some writings in some of the journals around mitochondria, the mitochondria health, and eye health. And there really wasn't much mentioned before that. Really, mitochondria is something that over the last 4 or 5 years has really taken off. You know, we've got methylene blue, which is a support for mitochondria therapy. We have red light boxes. We have red masks that help our skin health. And I've talked to several manufacturers and companies about red light and the eyes, and they don't really know about it. They in fact tell you to cover your eyes. So when this study came out with Glenn Jeffries back in 2021, it was groundbreaking, and I started to see some writings coming out of Stanford and Harvard on red light therapy and eye health, especially in the area of macular degeneration, dry eye inflammation. Because one of the tenets about red light is that it seems to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. And this was showing up in systemically where chiropractors who I talked to were using red light boxes to help their patients with arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, even some of the autoimmune diseases. And I don't think anybody in this class has ever been diagnosed with a condition called uveitis, but that's a very serious autoimmune disease that attacks the lining of the inside part of the eye, and it creates very high level inflammation. And really the only standard treatment is long-term steroids. Now, there is an autoimmune component to uveitis, but one of my first cases was applying red light therapy to this person. And within 6 weeks, they were off the steroids because, steroid eye drops can cause cataracts and glaucoma, bring the pressure up, push the pressure up. So after that 6-week mark, she was off steroids. I sent her back to her ophthalmologist. And he couldn't believe, he was dumbfounded that the inflammation had receded so aggressively. He was really surprised by that. And so I started on this quest of, how can I do this? How can I apply red light? And we had our red light machines that we used, and our color therapy red light plastic gels that you could put over your eyes. And eventually I had red exercise glasses. Some of you have those. So in the study, one of the things that was discussed was, when do you apply red light? And the best time to do that is between sunrise and noon. You want to do it in the morning. And, morning sunlight is so good for you. Every one of you should be getting morning sunlight. Even if it's cloudy, you don't have to look at the sun. You can have a hat on, take a walk. But everything is pointing to that morning sunlight. It's got the healthy blue light. It's got the natural full spectrum lighting, and it helps balance your circadian rhythms. Really good for you. So in the red light studies that have been done, it's been applied in the morning time. And so that's when you want to do it. You can do it anywhere between 3 and 10 minutes. You can do it every day. You can do it 3 days a week. But that zone of somewhere between 3 and 10 minutes seems to be the sweet spot. And with that application, you can use it as a meditation. You can add like 528 hertz, which is a sound healing that we're using now. And, that's the binaural beats. Or you can just do the red light. You can go outside and garden. I'm not sure you should be out walking with it, but certainly, or driving with it, but get that natural light. Now, here's the second part of it, is in the machines that emit red light. It's way too bright. And a lot of my patients have what we call photosensitivity. They're sensitive to light. And when we are sensitive to light, what happens is we get what we call the blink reflex. You may have experienced this if you're driving into the sun and there's a lot of glare, or you're over at the beach, or you're up in the mountains, or just generally speaking, if it's a really bright sunny day, it can be too overwhelming for your eyes. So in the red light application, the key is having the red lens right on your eyes, and any light called ambient light, which is light from the side, dim light, can be enough that activates the red frequency that's going to be directed into your eyes. You don't need to have a projected light in there. You just have to be around some light while the red lens is on your eyes. And you get to dictate how bright you want to go with it. I took a poll of about 1,000 patients, and I would say 85% of them couldn't handle the bright light that was coming off these light boxes. And so what we recommended was having them regulate the light. It could be a lamp in a room. It could be sitting by a window. It could be sitting on your porch. I have a couple people that sit outside in the morning, and they have a portal, and they're in the light, but the sun is not directly shining on them, and that works really well. So you get to regulate the brightness of the light. You just need to have the lenses on between 3 and 10 minutes. And the last thing I want to say is, repairing mitochondria function, especially when our mitochondria begins to shut down after about age 40, takes some time. Patience is really important. It's not like a drug that today you take the drug and tomorrow the symptom is less. You need to do it over a period of at least 12 weeks as a minimum. Now, once you reach that 12-week period, it's your choice now to say, do I want to continue with this just as a maintenance? Some people do. I mean, I have people in their 80s that use that light every day, and they've been using it for the last 5 years. But they see really well and they're knitting. They see really well, for reading, for their phone. And, it's just another kind of eye vitamin, but it's just in the form of light. So I find that when people use their intuition in the things that I give them, tuning in, yes or no, should I use this? That seems to be the most effective way. Now, if you don't know, you can always ask me. But generally speaking, you can continue to use the red light even after the 12-week study period. That was the study that was done that showed improvement in the visual acuity by 20%. You might find your glasses get too strong, or they're not the right prescription anymore because your eyes are now more alive, they're more vital, and your eyesight and your eye clarity is better. Your visual coordination is better. It's going to help the brain because the eyes connect to the brain. 25% of the pathways in the eyes go to non-visual pathways like your hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, and then the blood supply. We have a very concentrated blood supply in the eye. When you apply light to the eyes, it takes about 40 minutes for the light to circulate throughout the entire body. So you're getting red light systemically and metabolically just by using the portal of the eyes. So that's my my update on red light therapy. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears, and I'm going to teach you a practice that's going to help both your acupuncture meridians, it's going to help your craniosacral rhythm, and it's going to help your lymphatic health. Get 3 in 1. It's a very efficient practice. All right, so in order to do that, I'm going to give you a little context here. And the first thing I want to say is that you may know this, I've said this many times, is whenever you make sound, whenever you make a sound, it vibrates the tissue in the body. And if you use your hands as tuning forks, it directs the sound. We've done this with palm hum, we've done it on the heart, we've done it on the belly button. Tonight we're going to work on the vagus nerve, and we're going to work on our lymph system here. This is the major vagus nerve, thyroid area. So that's where our hands are going to be. And we're going to use our tongue tonight. So I want to talk about the tongue for a minute. The tongue is the highest harmonic of our spinal cord. Now, the thing about the tongue is that it's soft tissue. It undulates, okay? And whenever we access undulation in our tissue, it creates an undulation and a wave in our body. And one of the things that happens both as we age and we get exposed to the wireless electromagnetic pollution that's out there is that our wave begins to become flat and are something called stasis, where we don't have that waveform anymore because the electromagnetic influence shuts it down. Repetitive movements shut it down. Fear shuts it down. Paralysis, just we get in trauma. Our trauma comes up. So this waveform, and the spine has a wave, and the tongue is part of the top part of the spine. So we're going to use our tongue, and whenever we use our tongue with sound, and we direct the sound in certain ways, it recreates this undulation in our body. And when we create more undulation, we get better circulation, better oxygenation, and the fluid part of our body enlivens. Because as we age, what happens? We dry out. Our eyes dry out, our brain dries out, our respiratory system and our heart and our arteries and our veins, everything dries out as we get older. And so one of the ways to reverse that is to think about undulating movement, wave motion. And when we go back into wave pulsation, then this creates more circulation. So we're combining sound, we're combining the tongue, we're combining touch. And one last thing, I'm going to talk a bit about where you're going to put your tongue, okay? So there's two places here that you're going to place your tongue. The first is, if you can visualize this, on the outside part of the upper teeth and the inside part of the upper lip. So I'm pointing to this with my finger right here. This is actually a point called the governing vessel. The governing vessel is a meridian that runs through our third eye, above our head, down our spine, around our perineum, and it comes into the belly button. Now, the governing vessel in acupuncture is our yang meridian. Yang, activity, masculine. Okay, that's what it is. So when we make a humming sound and we press on the inside part of the upper lip, we're activating that entire meridian, okay, which is really amazing. Now, the second thing, so that's the acupuncture part. The second part of what we're activating is in the back part of our head is something called the cervical spine. We have cervical bones here. And the cervical bones sit below the back of the head, which is our visual cortex. That's our vision center. Now, the cervical spine, when it starts to get compressed, if you see my neck here, or we're doing this, or you've had an injury, what happens is the bones collapse. And when they collapse, it affects the neck muscles and it goes right into the eye muscles. So it creates an eye tension based on the compression of the cervical spine. So when you press on the inside part of the upper lip, you are spreading the cervical spine behind you. In fact, we have C1 to C is activated by pressing on the governing vessel. So you're getting acupuncture, and you're getting craniosacral, and you're getting the vagus nerve and the lymph when you're humming. Okay, so that's the first part. The second position is taking that tongue again and putting it on the lower part, the inside part of the lower lip. Guess what that's called? The conception vessel. And that's the feminine, that's the yin, and that runs down into the front of your body, and it meets up with the governing vessel. So we have the conception vessel lower, the governing vessel upper. Now, when you activate the conception vessel, C4 to C7 spread out. So you're getting C1 to C4 on the top, 4 to C7 on the bottom. You're getting this whole action going, and you're getting the vagus nerve. Now, we're going to add one more thing, which is when you're humming, I want you to rock, because that stimulates the ear, the vestibular system, which is very connected to our balance and our orientation, and it's very connected to the eyes in something called the vestibular ocular reflex. So when we rock, and you can rock side to side, you can walk forward to backwards, you can go in a circle, clockwise. You get to choose how you want to do that while you're humming, while you're applying the tongue either to the inside part of the upper lip or the inside part of the lower lip. We're going to have a big treatment here. So the way this is going to work is that we're going to do 3 hums on an exhale. So you breathe in. On the exhale, I'm putting my tongue here, and then I'm doing the lower. Now, after I'm done with that, I close my eyes and I go into that open awareness, that open attention. That's where I'm listening. Okay, so I'm listening, and I notice right away I'm getting a lot of pulsation in my jaw. So my body is responding to the stimulation of the sound. Now, I want you to be in that open attention for at least a minute, maybe 2 minutes. And I'll guide you in this, and I'm going to kind of guide you through the whole thing. Then you're going to go back and you're going to do the upper lip again, 3, bottom lip, 3, and then open attention again, and then you're going to do it one more time. Okay, so we're going to do 3. The power of 3. 3 hums on the top, 3 hums on the bottom, open attention. 3 hums on the top, 3 hums on the bottom, open attention. 3 hums on the top, 3 hums on the bottom, open attention. And then we'll have a closing of it. So that's the situation. So get yourself in a seated position. You can, yes, I would say with open attention, close your eyes so you can go more internal. That would be really good. So let's get in position. And I want you to place your hands on your vagus nerve on either side. Okay? Your eyes can be open on this. It doesn't matter exactly where you put your tongue. So if you can't get up really high, just you want it on the outside part of the upper teeth, inside part of the upper lip. And then what I'd like you to do is rocking, and I want you to do 3 hums, 1 on each exhale. Go slow. So let's do that right now. Okay, now 3 on the lower. All right, now I'd like you to go into open attention. Close your eyes. We call this the art of listening. Listen to your body's response. Sensations, could be thoughts, it could be you want to move. Just listen for a minute. Do about another 30 seconds. Okay, you can begin to open your eyes, and we're going to do this again. We're going to layer it. When we layer it, we get to go deeper in our tissue. Hands around your neck so that you've got your vagus nerve activated. Tongue on the upper lip, inside. 3 hums on the exhale, humming. Lower lip. Okay, you can close your eyes, go into open attention. See what's showing up now. What's your body's response? Really good, regulating yourself. Calming down. Opening up the circulation. Getting more oxygen in the bloodstream. Another 20. Okay, one last time. Hands around the neck. Tongue on the inside part of the upper lip. Rocking. Do another different kind of rock this time. 3 hums or lip. Make the rocking micro movement. Okay, go ahead and close your eyes one more time. Open attention. Listening, feeling, sensing. This is a practice that I would like you to do next week, this week to next week. And try it once a day. You can do it before bed. You can do it in the morning. Do it if in between your computer time. This is a very potent practice, and you're doing a lot of things at once. You're getting that craniosacral treatment with the cervical spine spreads again. You're getting the acupuncture stimulation, and you're getting, it's called the tongue clock. Tongue clock. Now this is the tongue clock basic. Next week, we're going to do the tongue clock advanced, but this is called the tongue clock. Also, when you're moving your tongue, again, you're getting that undulating tongue movement. It's informing the body to have a subtle wave as well. And having that wave motion is really a key to vitality and health, as opposed to just like that, very, very straight. So, well done. So, what I'd like to move to now is, this will be, let me just share my screen here. Okay. All right. So tonight, I'm going to introduce you to medicinal aromatherapy. My experience with essential oils goes way back when I had my own health problem. I had a very serious digestive issue that nobody could figure out. And I met somebody who did aromatherapy and gave me essential oils, basil, fennel, peppermint, and I began using those, in water, sipping them before, during, and after meals. And within a few months, all my nausea and irritation in my digestive tract went away. So then what I began to do is, because I do something called a hair mineral analysis, and I work with a lot of children, I found that the hair mineral analysis showed heavy metal toxicity. That was a big issue for them. And so I developed a essential oil protocol to detox the heavy metals out of the body. And there were 3 essential oils I used. The first was black cumin, and that was an essential oil that boosts the immune system, and I had them do 6 drops in a glass of water and drink that in the morning. Then what I had them do is use 2 other essential oils. One is called patchouli, and I had them put 3 drops on the soles of their feet twice a day, morning and evening. And then the other one was an essential oil called cedarwood atlas, which is a tree atlas. 3 drops of that on the feet in the morning and the evening. And in the study, the parents did that twice a day for 3 months, and that was the protocol that got rid of the heavy metal toxicity. And so once I saw those things, I dove in and studied aromatherapy and became an aromatherapist and taught aromatherapy in my Geodome, maybe like 4 times a year. It was really, really great. So I've been using aromatherapy for many, many years. I use it when I travel. I use it for respiratory issues, dental issues, immune system health, eye health. I mean, there's lots of different applications. And so that's kind of my beginning of aromatherapy. This is a lavender plant. And one of the other things that I did was I actually did some of my own making of essential oils. I had a glass distiller, and I used to go to different lavender farms and other places and make my own essential oils, which was really amazing. And so I really got into the process of it also. So in this lecture tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about the wisdom that comes from plants and trees, because it isn't just the physical, but it's also the emotional, psychological, and spiritual aspects of plant medicine, whether it's herbs, flower essences, essential oils. In our property, we have a lot of plants that my wife has cultivated that are very medicinal. We make mullein tea. She's got, lots of different things growing that we can actually make into, medicinal plant-based medicines. So it's pretty amazing that our land and our nature supports us really well if we allow it to and we know about it. So I want to talk a little bit about plant systems and human systems. Humans measure, this is done with an oscilloscope. The normal health vibration is 63 megahertz. Flu is about 55 megahertz. COVID is about 19 to 45 megahertz. And cancer is about 39 megahertz. Now, when we talk about essential oils, rose vibrates at 300 megahertz. Ylang Ylang, 120 megahertz. Laurel leaf, 118 megahertz. Lavender and frankincense around 117 and 115 megahertz. So that's a lot more than even normal health. But if you're sick or your energy is low, starting to apply essential oils either on your body or diffusing it in the air or taking a bath with it can be very beneficial in raising your vibration and energy. And quoting my teacher, Dr. Hazel Parcells, who lived to 106, and I met her at 103, she taught me a lot about energy healing. She said, if you want to get rid of disease, raise your vibration. All right, I want to bring in one of my own mentors and teachers, Stephen Buhner. He's written a number of books. Y'all look him up. He's an herbalist. He's not alive anymore. But this is what he says, and I'm quoting him. By declaring war on bacteria, we are declaring war on all living structures on Earth. Antibiotics have one single compound. Essential oils have such a complexity that when the bacteria actually morphs, the essential oil can handle the change. And the key in using essential oils or any plant-based medicines is keeping things in balance and harmony. So this militaristic languaging that we see in the media, and what we saw about COVID, the war on COVID, the war on this, the war on that. When we work with plant-based things, it's about keeping them in balance and harmony. And when bacteria morphs, which it does, the essential oil is so complex that it doesn't matter. It can still do the things that it's supposed to do. So it's really, really an interesting idea. Now, in terms of COVID, and we're kind of over COVID right now, but essential oils, one of the many natural protocols that can be used to neutralize viruses, fungal infections, antiviral, antifungal, respiratory issues. Some of my go-to for respiratory health are simply eucalyptus and tea tree oil. One of the ways that we recommend either one of these is taking a drop or two and putting it in a neti pot and cleaning out your sinuses. It's a really great thing to do if you're flying on an airplane, if you're, in an indoor environment, and you feel like, you've gotten, some things there, either it's antiviral or antifungal, eucalyptus and or tea tree oil can work really well at reducing those problems. Now, another thing that I talk about in my aromatherapy trainings is the power of anointing. And if you have a loved one, a parent, a child, a partner, a friend, asking for permission and then applying the essential oil to either their body or, there's lots of different ways that you can do it. I'll talk about applications, creates a certain sacredness. And anointing goes all the way back to, early biblical times. It's a very potent way to amplify the effectiveness of plant-based medicine. Now, when you use aromatherapy, one of the things that you can do is either apply one essential oil at a time. You can apply an essential oil and then apply another one on top of it. And you can either apply it on the skin, you can dilute it and use a carrier oil, you can drink it, you can diffuse it, and you can even apply it internally. But it depends on your own constitution, and it also depends on the temperature of the essential oil. So as an example, oregano is a very hot essential oil. You wouldn't want to apply that directly to your skin. However, lavender, which is more of a cooling oil, you might be able to apply it to the skin. It just kind of depends on your skin constitution and whether you want to do that. Now, when you look for companies, and I'm going to talk more about this at the Frankincense course, you want to look for practices that the companies are doing, which are called wildcrafting or biodynamic farming. Because when the farmer takes into account the rhythms of nature, it actually increases the vibration of the essential oil. And if you use these big companies, multi-level marketing and machine harvesting, it interferes with the vibrational integrity of the essential oil. We talk about pouring through it with a machine or doing hand pouring. It's better if you can find a company that does hand pouring. And looking for companies where they're not doing corporate things like multi-level marketing, that they're getting the essential oils from small family farms if you can. And you want to stay away from aromatherapy that is using just a trace of the essential oil to create a flavoring or a perfumery. You need to be careful about the integrity of the essential oil and how it's being produced and sold. Essential oils are a healing force of nature. They're highly concentrated, they're volatile, they're very strong, they're organic, and there are different ways to produce essential oil. When I was making my own essential oils, I was doing something called steam distillation. Now, in some essential oils, they have to do kind of an extraction where they're putting in something like hexane to get enough of the essential oil, and then they take the hexane out. And so a lot of it is dependent on what part of the plant they're using, where they're harvesting it, and what they're trying to achieve. But make no mistake about it, that essential oils have very complicated chemotypes. And when I studied essential oils, I really came to respect nature's intelligence compared to pharmaceuticals, which are synthetically made and they're very one-dimensional. So when we start using essential oils, our body takes that in and it creates a energy supplementation which can really change our energy fields. And so like peppermint, for example, you can brush your teeth with it. You can do what I did where you can put a drop or two in some water and sip it. It'll help your digestive health. It's a cooling essential oil. So one of the things that I like to do is when I'm in a hot day, I'll take my handkerchief, bandana, I'll wet it, put a drop or two of peppermint oil on that bandana and put it around my neck, and it keeps me really cool. So peppermint is a cooling essential oil. Probably people can use it directly on the skin, and you can also drink it. Now, another factor I want to bring in is this term called adaptogenic. And adaptogenic means that the essential oil is going to work based on your body's energy. And so unlike treating a symptom where everybody gets the same result, I could give 10 people a spike lavender essential oil, and based on where you are with your body, it's going to respond in that particular way. The other term I want to bring in is called lipophilic, meaning that it's more fat-based or hydrophilic. And what's really interesting about essential oils, and I talk about laurel leaf, bay laurel, which is wonderful for your lymphatic health. And by the way, if you get your mammograms, what I recommend is massaging laurel leaf on your breasts before you go in, and that's going to be like a protection from the radiation. But one of the techniques we use with laurel leaf and some of the others is if you put it on your body and you take a bath or a shower, the water is going to push the essential further in. I have a lady who's got hip pain. So I had her using birch, and birch is a wonderful essential oil. It's warm. It's really good for the joints. So I had her massage it into her hips, get into a hot bath, and it was like magic. It took the pain away. So you can use essential oils along with baths and showers to push the essential oil more deeply into the body. Now, I just talked about birch. Wintergreen is very similar to birch in that way. Basically that because essential oils are so complicated in their chemotypes, they can actually be not only antibacterial, but they also have antioxidants in them, and they can even support cellular health. Also, essential oils have nutritive values. Some of them have vitamins and minerals. If we look at the essential oils like ginger, great for your digestion. The cedar woods, really great for adrenal health. The firs, grounding and good for adrenal health. The citruses, great for boosting your mood. Eucalyptuses, good for respiratory. So these essential oils bring more light and energy to your body on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level. Now, I want to be clear here, not all essential oils are antiviral and antifungal or breaking the blood-brain barrier. Now, I'm going to list here some antiviral essences: lemon, thyme, naolis, the sages, rosemaries, cinnamon bark, mountain savory, oregano, eucalyptuses, and cedar leaf. Those are great antiviral. Some great antifungal, if you're dealing with mold, can be spikenard, tea tree, laurel leaf, cinnamon bark, patchouli. I talked about that as a heavy metal, getting rid of heavy metals. Manuka, kanuka. So some essential oils do break the blood-brain barrier, and we're going to talk more about that at the frankincense class. As you see there, frankincense is number 1, breaking the blood-brain barrier. Sandalwood is one of my go-tos if you've got UTI infections. Artemisia, myrrh, great for dental health. Alimi, which is a sister to frankincense. Helichrysum, which is great for the skin. And amyris. Now, we want to look at what part of the plant is volunteering its essential oil to us. And the flower essences like neroli and rose and tuberose and jasmine, lang lang, those open the heart. They're very high vibrational. Sometimes we use different plant parts like the leaves or the needles. This would be eucalyptus and petitgrains. And then the furs like myrtles, fruits, black pepper, clove bud. By the way, clove bud is great for dental health. And then the fruits, the peel of the fruits like orange, mandarin, lemon, and lime. Very uplifting. If we continue, the seeds like sweet fennel, anise seed, cumin seed, we use black cumin, or the wood of the plant like sandalwood, rosewood, or the bark, birch, red spruce, cinnamon bark, ravensara. And then the root or the grass like vetiver. One of my favorites is angelica root. Great to meditate with because you have both the cosmic and you've got the root. So it's angelica root is a great one. Ginger lily. And then we've got the resins. This would be like frankincense and myrrh, galbanum, and the flower tops. Lavender, oregano, thyme, and hyssop. Now, I don't expect you to absorb all this right now, but I'm just giving you the variety and the broad band that these essential oils, where they come from based on the plant part. All right, so in terms of applications, one way to do it is undiluted directly on the skin. However, one of the things I recommend doing is a skin patch, doing a test where you take a little bit of the essential oil and you put it on the inside part of your arm by your wrist. So you take a drop and you put it there and you feel it and you watch it for a few minutes. And if you get a sensitivity, a redness, a burning, first of all, if any essential oil is burning, you just need to put some coconut oil on it, olive oil, almond oil, and that will take the burning away. But doing a test patch at the beginning will tell you whether you can do undiluted or not. Again, in the frankincense class, I'm going to go into carrier oils, how to dilute the oils, what's the ratio, and things like that. But when we apply, we have to kind of take into account your age, your weight, your health, your toxic load. And as I say, you want to do a test patch, watch for reactions. If it's all clear, then you probably can apply it to the affected area or near the affected area. Obviously, you want to keep it away from the sensitive areas of your body, like your eyes and your mouth and your genital areas. But generally speaking, if you pass the test patch, then you probably can use it. The other way to do it is just to dilute the oil. You still get the energetic benefit, and it's more safe to do. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the mist part of essential oils. We call this hydrosols. A lot of people don't know what this is. So when we distill an essential oil, basically what we do is we harvest a plant. And let's say, for example, when I used to make sage oil, I would do a ceremony around a sage plant. I would do drumming. I would ask the plant, is it okay to take some of you? And so we would harvest it, bring it home, and then we'd put it in this distiller and we'd heat it with water. And it created a steam. It created a steam effect after a while. And in that steam was the essential oil. And there'd be two places where the steam would go. One would be direct essential oil, the oil. And you need a big amount of plant part to get a small amount of essential oil. That's why it's so expensive. But that the other part had water particles in it, but also the essential oil. That became the mist, the hydrosol. And hydrosols are a fraction of the price of the concentrated oil. And if you've got dry eye or dry skin, getting a helichrysum hydrosol and spraying it around your eyes or your face with your eyes closed is really amazing. And you do this 3 or 4 times a day, it's incredible. Rose geranium is another hydrosol I recommend. You could do a neroli, a jasmine. So it kind of just depends on the company and what they offer. But I go for hydrosols a lot because it's much less cost and I'm still getting that energetic and I can receive it much better because it's in a mist. All right, in terms of some of the essential oils I really like, black spruce is a natural corticosteroid. Lang Lang is great for your heart, opening up the heart. And clary sage is great as a hormone balancer. So again, you can apply any of these under the armpits or in the lymph channels. And frankincense has been shown to have anti-cancer properties. I'm going to talk more about that at the class. And I've used it to open up the eyes, to open up our vision. So you can put it on your third eye as an example, or the top of the head. And again, I'm going to talk more about frankincense at the class because there's a lot of different applications for it. So with essential oils, I think what I want to leave you with is a couple of things. Number one, find a company that you resonate with. Now, I'm not against multi-level marketing companies. They actually have some really consistent essential oils. But if you can find a boutique company and you like them, that's the key. You know, sometimes you have to experiment and try different companies and see, yeah, I resonate with this oil or I don't resonate with it. Let me try another company. I always say start with the oils you have and use those. Pick one or two and start applying it to the soles of your feet. Or you do a test patch and you see, okay, I really like this. Maybe let me try it on the lymph system or on my tummy or my low back. Okay, you can put it in the area where maybe, you're feeling some pain or inflammation. I'm going to give you the eye protocol right now. And this is really good for your eyes, but the caveat is that your skin can handle it. All right, so there's 3 essential oils you use for the eye protocol. The first is called sweet fennel or fennel. And you apply it at the hairline, hopefully you can see this, in the temples and the cheeks, okay? Right on top of that, carrot seed. Okay, those 3 positions. Now that carrot seed's going to be warm. So you might have your coconut oil nearby. If it gets too hot or you start getting something, like a rash or something, immediately apply the coconut oil. And then the third one is frankincense. So you're layering the essential oils. My experience, both myself and with thousands of people that I've used this on, is it starts to open up the peripheral vision. And you'll start energetically feeling this. This is pretty incredible. And if you do this once a day, it's going to help your night vision, your focus, your eye clarity. It's really good. 30-day challenge. Once a day or every other day. Yeah, so the positions again, you'll get this recording. So I encourage you right here, and below here in the cheek area. Okay? Sweet fennel's number 1, carrot seed is number 2, frankincense is number 3. So the world of essential oils is vast. There's several companies out there that you can choose from. Do your due diligence and go easy on them. Learn about them. I would say probably for most people, learning about using a carrier oil with the essential oil so you're diluting it and not putting it directly on your skin would be a good way to start. And sign up for my frankincense course and you'll learn how to do that. All right, that's our show for today. Thank you so much. Until next time, take care.